I gave you everything. My time, my loyalty, my belief that you were different. But you weren't. You were just better at pretending. You looked me in the eyes and swore you'd never hurt me. But every word you spoke was a blade I never saw coming. You smiled while you cut me open. You laughed while I was bleeding. And the moment I realized it wasn't an accident, something inside me broke. Not my heart, not my mind. Something deeper, the version of me that trusted, that believed, that cared. That version died the day you showed me who you really are. Now I don't beg for honesty. I demand distance, because the next time someone betrays me, they'll only be standing in their own trap. There comes a moment when everything you believed about someone collapses in front of you. The lies start to connect. The memories begin to sting. You replay every conversation, every smile, and you realize how blind you were. Trust is sacred. It is the invisible thread that holds two souls together. Once it snaps, something inside you never returns to what it was. You start to question everything and everyone. You begin to wonder if anyone is ever who they say they are. You know what it feels like, don't you? That cold silence after betrayal. That emptiness where warmth used to live. But here's the truth that takes time to understand. Betrayal is not the end of you. It is the awakening of who you were meant to become. Pain has a strange way of opening your eyes. It strips away illusion and forces you to rebuild from nothing. You start to see through people. You start to see through lies, and in that clarity, you find strength. Because the moment you stop trusting the wrong people, you start trusting yourself. That is where your transformation begins. This is phantom focus, where pain becomes power. It starts quietly, not with shouting, not with chaos, but with silence. The kind of silence that makes your chest feel heavy, as if the air itself has turned against you. You replay every moment in your head, searching for the exact second when truth turned into deception. At first, you don't believe it. You convince yourself that there must be a mistake, that people cannot change so quickly, that maybe you are the one overthinking. But then the pieces start to align, and the picture they form is one you wish you had never seen. Disbelief fades into confusion. You ask yourself why someone would hurt a heart that only wanted to care. You wonder how long they were pretending. Days? Weeks? Or was it from the very start? The answers never come, and the silence becomes louder than any scream. Then the confusion burns away, and rage takes its place. The kind of rage that doesn't shout but simmers inside, waiting for an outlet that never arrives. Eventually the fire dies, and numbness takes over. You stop reacting, stop caring, stop feeling. It's like the world loses color. Everything becomes gray, emotionless, empty. And that is when the realization hits hardest. The worst part isn't that they lied. It's that for a moment, you believed them. You handed them your trust like a weapon, and they used it to destroy you from the inside. You thought they cared, but all they wanted was control. They didn't break you by accident. They broke you because they could. At some point, the pain starts to settle, and clarity begins to form. You stop asking what happened and start seeing what was always there. You begin to notice how people show you pieces of themselves when it benefits them, and hide the rest when it doesn't. You realize that the words they spoke were never meant to heal you, only to control you. Every promise had an agenda. Every compliment had a price. What once felt genuine now feels scripted, like they were reading lines from a play they had performed before. You start to see patterns, the same smiles, the same empty reassurances, the same false concern when it served their ego. That is when it hits you. They never cared about losing you. They only cared about losing the power they had over you. Betrayal opens your eyes to things you were never meant to see. You begin to understand how selfishness hides behind kindness, how manipulation wears a mask of care. And then comes the hardest question. Was it my fault for trusting too much? You go back and forth, trying to find the moment where you could have stopped it. But the truth is, your mistake wasn't that you trusted. Your mistake was believing that everyone valued trust the way you did. You start to realize that being good was never the weakness. It was your greatest strength, only given to the wrong people. They thought they broke you, but all they did was teach you who never deserved your trust. And now, when you look at people, you see through the surface. You no longer listen to what they say. You watch what they do. Every ending brings a choice. You either stay broken, or you rise with the pieces still sharp in your hands. Betrayal has a strange way of forcing you to rebuild. It strips away the illusions, burns away the weakness, and leaves you face to face with your own strength. You start to see that pain was never your enemy. It was your teacher. It showed you that not everyone deserves access to your heart. It showed you that sometimes silence speaks louder than confrontation. And in that silence, you begin to grow. The fire that once burned you now becomes the same fire that shapes you. You walk differently. You speak less, but with more purpose. You stop trying to be understood by people who enjoy misunderstanding you. You stop chasing closure from those who never offered honesty. The world that once felt cold now feels like a test you are finally ready to face. You become colder, yes, but not cruel. Wiser, but not bitter. You start to find peace in solitude, realizing that solitude was never loneliness. It was the moment your power returned. You no longer crave revenge. You understand that revenge gives them importance, but progress erases their existence. Success becomes your silence. Growth becomes your payback. You stop proving yourself to others and start proving yourself to your own reflection. Each scar becomes a symbol of survival, not defeat. They tried to destroy you with fire, but they forgot that some people are born from it. You can't destroy someone who's already walked through the flames and learned how to dance in them. The old version of you was soft and trusting. The new version carries armor made from every betrayal you survived. Now you see the world for what it is, not for what you wish it to be. And now I trust no one blindly, not because I am bitter, but because I have learned. In the quiet that follows betrayal, you begin to see the truth about trust. Trust is not something that should be handed out freely. It is something that must be earned. And once it is broken, it never returns in the same form. You learn that not everyone you care about deserves access to your heart, and not every kind word deserves your belief. The lesson is painful, but it is also powerful. You can forgive yourself for believing in the wrong people. You can stop blaming yourself for seeing potential where there was only pretense. Having a good heart is not a flaw. It is proof that you are capable of love in a world that feeds on manipulation. Maybe you are there right now, sitting in the middle of your silence, wondering how to heal. Maybe you feel like you lost a part of yourself when they left, but you didn't lose anything that mattered. You only lost the illusion that they cared. What you gained is far greater. You gained wisdom. You gained awareness. You gained control over who gets to stand beside you next time. Betrayal is not your ending. It is your awakening. It shows you who you are when the world stops pretending. It teaches you to stop chasing approval from those who never valued you in the first place. It reminds you that your peace will always matter more than their presence. Sometimes losing people is the best way to find yourself. You just do not see it until the silence teaches you what their noise was hiding. And when that realization sinks in, you finally stop trying to return to who you were before the pain, because that version of you no longer exists, and that is the point. In the end, everything you went through becomes the foundation of who you are now. The betrayal that once broke you no longer defines you. It shaped you. It carved away the weakness and left behind someone stronger, wiser, and unshakable. You no longer see trust as something fragile, but as something sacred. You understand that not everyone deserves it, and that is perfectly fine. Because now, before you trust anyone else, you trust yourself first. There is power in that. Power in knowing that your worth is not dependent on how others treat you. Power in realizing that healing is not about forgetting, but about learning. The version of you that was hurt has evolved into the version that no longer settles for half-truths and false promises. You are no longer seeking revenge. You are seeking peace, and that is what real strength looks like. You trusted them once, and it broke you. You trusted yourself, and it rebuilt you. So when you look back, remember this truth. I trusted you. That was my last mistake, because now I do not give my trust freely. I make them earn it. And maybe that is how I finally win. This is Phantom Focus, where pain becomes power.